Welcome to the Let's Drink Bourbon podcast. That's Wes. I'm Tim. Our special guest today, Mitchell Tenpenny. You probably know his music. Yeah. Man, like, do you have water? What do you got over there?
Well, I actually have some bottles. I'm gonna crack. So I think they're the same ones. This is signed by our man himself. So I'm gonna leave. This as a special gift. I'm gonna leave that one up in my thing. But I have not opened this bottle yet. We got we got 178 here.
There you go.
Barrel 3928. So I'm gonna pop it open just for this podcast, and we're gonna have a sip.
Thank you so much,
Wes, I'm leaving this one just in my collection because it's got your name on it, brother. So
I appreciate it, man. There we go. All right.
So
we'll start with some bourbon here, and if you get the cap off, we've made these to where they're they're adult proof, as we call it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Working on it now.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We'll do a toast here in just a minute, but
cool.
Just to get started, I've got something I was talking about with someone earlier today about the bourbon industry. And let me back up before I get to that. So let's talk about our initial connection, because we're getting ready to drink bourbon, and really it was over bourbon.
Yeah.
At one of Luke Bryan's farm tour shows. I don't remember what city. And
no telling.
Right, exactly.
It was a farm.
It was on a farm in the middle of a field. I think that was the night everybody got caught in the mud too.
Yes, it was probably Michigan, maybe Michigan. Let's go with Michigan.
Well, wherever it was, we had a blowout time, and you were great, and we managed to hang out on the bus and drink some bourbon, and I met you, and that's where I met Megan as well. Yeah. And it's everything's kind of history since then. So so we bonded over bourbon initially. So that's pretty cool. So did you get your glass poured yet?
I got my glass here, man.
Cheers, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for the great bourbon too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
I have warm car bourbon. I hope yours is.
It's just so good.
It is.
I have to admit, it's not too bad.
Wow. I have not had that bottle yet. Like I said, I just opened.
Are you a big collector? Because those are sealed, awesome. Man.
I am. I do. I know. I do open up whiskey. So I'm lucky in this industry. We get a lot of gifts of alcohol because I drink alcohol. So those are the gifts. So and a lot of times I love people to sign them. So like when Wes signed that, that bottle will probably stay closed for a long time. But he gave me another one from the same barrel. And when I get gifts, I love to share with my friends, man. Like, so this bottle will be drank whatever you say by me and a couple buddies that love good bourbon. So thank you again.
I love that, man. There's so many stories inside those bottles of bourbon, and those stories don't get shared. It's like songwriting. They don't get shared unless you tap into it and and share it with friends. And I'm sure songwriting and bourbon probably go together fairly well.
I was about to say, I've had quite a few songs I've written that have been inspired by some of these bottles.
Have you ever woke up the next morning and said, "Oh shit, what have I done with this? Delete."
What did we write? What was it? Well, it's good bourbon makes good songs. I'll say that. Bad bourbon makes great times too. Sometimes.
There you go.
There you go.
I love it. So I just and I said earlier that we were talking about something in the bourbon industry, and Tim and I, it's kind of a common thread when we talk to folks about bourbon, is the family connection. And there are just a few bourbon families. We've known each other for generations, and we have very close ties. But you have your story kind of starts out with a family connection in the industry.
Man.
You grew up in the business. Can you tell us about that family connection? And that's not always easy to navigate. It's you come into the industry, and first you're known as the kid of this person. And then you've got that shadow over you that you've got to kind of come out from underneath. And, unfortunately, some people are blessed to do that, as you have. And so tell me about how that was as a child and coming into the business, and how you feel about it today.
Man, that's as it's kind of tough, because when you're surrounded by something, I guess your initial reaction is to kind of run away from it. At least I was as a kid. My grandmother came from Bethel, Alabama, extremely small town. Her and my granddad ran away to Nashville, Tennessee, and she worked her way up from receptionist at Sony to end up being president of Sony Publishing, which is the songwriting side of it. She signed songwriters, everyone from Brooks and Dunn to Taylor Swift. But as a kid, she was just grandmother to me. I had no idea who she was. I knew that she was surrounded by all these artists and these great songwriters, but I was just always she was just grandmother me, so sweet. And as I got a little older and I started playing in bands and stuff that were not country music, it was, I remember one day I walked into her office and she had a guy named Bobby Braddock and Curly Putnam that were there, and they wrote He Stopped Loving Her Today and like Green Green Grass at Home and a bunch of big old hits. I mean, legendary country songs. And that was the first time I realized what a songwriter was. She goes, Mitchell, I must have been 10, I don't know, young, 9, 10. And she goes, Mitchell, these are the guys that wrote He Stopped Loving Her Today. And at the time, I thought every artist wrote their own songs. I just didn't really know what she did. But then I looked at those guys. I thought they were the coolest people in the world. I was like, songwriters, what is that? That's awesome. Like, if you know, like they're walking around town and they're not the person singing, but they're the ones writing it. I just thought that was the most unique and cool thing in the world. So it kind of bit me then. I was always writing songs, but I was in bands. I was a hardcore drummer, screamer for like hardcore bands. I did a lot of rock band stuff, and then went to college, and we all split up and went to different colleges. And me and my roommate's name is Brad Clausen. His dad's a big songwriter, Rodney Clausen, in town. And so we started, getting more country music surrounded by us. So we started writing those songs and playing out every night at every bar we could play in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And at that point, my grandmother got really sick, and she actually flatlined in the hospital, and that lack of oxygen took her from president and CEO to almost like an Alzheimer's type, where she was just couldn't remember anybody. Wow. And so right when I was starting music, when I could have used her help, unfortunately, God had a different plan for us. And she got very sick. And I didn't get to ask her all that advice that I would love to have. So I had to kind of do it my own way. And at the beginning, it was, oh, you're Donna Hilly's grandson, oh, whatever. And so I quit telling people about that because I was annoyed by it. I wasn't getting the chance that I felt I deserved. And after a while, anything in this industry, out of sight, out of mind, as new people come in, legacies fade out for whatever reason. And I got to kind of put in my own name and start doing my own thing. And I just wanted to be a songwriter. And I was just writing songs and playing them out as much as I could. And then, it's Nashville. You never know who's in the room. And I was playing a songwriter round, and Sony Records happened to be there. And it was one of those things where they asked me to be an artist, and I just said, let's do it. And I'm kind of just like, I had no, sure. Yeah, I was like, all right. And then there we went. But I never would have been able to navigate this industry had I not watched my grandmother and unknowingly taken in so much of what she did so well, which number one is people, how you treat people, how you make sure everyone in the room feels special, how you make sure that you don't exist without a team. I learned that from her, but I didn't know I was learning it. And it truly, as when she passed and my family, like we were surrounded by this, it truly made me want to take her spot or to keep that legacy going in country music. Because I think her reign ended too early, unfortunately. And it's my honor to try to carry on the family legacy, if you will, of country music in our family.
Isn't it nice though, those voices, you still hear, from, I'm sure it whispers, and, you think about your grandmother and you think about, her, and how many people though really, before I ask this next question, what's your favorite like hardcore rock band? What's the one that comes to mind?
Like hardcore band would be, a band named Under Oath, August Burns Red. And I was a big like Slipknot fan growing up.
Okay, I know those guys. I know Clown a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And Korn and stuff. Korn was an awesome one of my favorite bands. But older stuff, Metallica and things like that, I really loved, and Tool.
There you go. Maynard's a big Angels Envy fan.
Oh yeah! Wow!
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's the first artist that I knew of that had Angels Envy on their tour rider.
No way.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I figured. Awesome. I'm like, we made it. We finally made it.
By the way, Mitchell, one of the things I've learned about Wes, like you would never get it because he's always buttoned up and he he's got that deep voice. He's kind of like you think he's like the wise bourbon guy, and it's like, nah, he's a badass that does badass shit. And you're like, wait a second. Like all of a sudden he'll like one day he'll just like tell a story like, yeah, oh yeah, Slipknot, I've been hanging out. It's like, wait,
yeah,
what?
I know when he just said that. And by the way, you have an amazing voice coming through the headphones. A great podcast radio voice too. But no, what a surprise. That's awesome.
They've got a
that
whiskey.
surprised me. He loves your whiskey, but yeah.
Yeah, in Slipknot they have a whiskey as well, which actually is pretty good stuff. But yeah, it's been an exciting ride for me to be able to meet some of these, some of these incredible people. But who wakes up in the morning and says, with just, you think of a performing artist, and and I've seen you work a room and I've seen you work a crowd, and you're amazing at it. And I know you draw off that energy, which I think as a performer, you do. Who wakes up in the morning and says, I want to be a songwriter and not a performer? You kind of came at it from another direction, I think, right?
Yeah.
Do you think every songwriter, though, secretly, because, there's some songwriters that, I'll give you a great example. He's a great songwriter, Ashley Gorley. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley, who's written how many millions of #1 songs?
I know it's ridiculous. He's over 60 now or something. It's insane.
Right. I've heard him, play around the piano, but I've never really heard him perform. So I wonder how many songwriters secretly want to perform, or do you think that's just, I'm going to be a songwriter. That's what I want to do. There's some money there too, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you get to stay at home and collect mailbox money instead of having to travel. So
that doesn't suck.
There's a lot of allure to that in respect to the industry. But as far as Ashley Gorley goes, I think he's very happy doing what he does, collecting that mailbox money, getting to be in the room with the biggest artists in the world, and just writing hit songs and then going home to his family. I think that's the tough point. I think there are a lot of songwriters that could very well be artists. And there are a lot of artists that should very well just be songwriters. But it's the balance of the family life and the time on the road. I think a lot of people, that's the fine line. Do I want to be an artist? The time you have to take away and the sacrifice to be an artist, when you can still do what you love and write music and hear your music performed in stadiums and arenas and on the radio from home. That's the fine line between being an artist and a songwriter. And I think, there are definitely songwriters that are starting at songwriting to try to get in the rooms to work their way up to be an artist. Because, the more you write in this town, the success you get there, the more this town gives you a chance. But for the most part, I think this town kind of figures it out for you, if that makes any sense at all.
I totally get it. Well, that's and I love that. That's a really nice, straight, honest answer. So that's like, Tim, did you have a?
I have tons of questions. Are you
okay,
kidding me?
go ahead. Let me be quiet here.
I know you guys are old friends. See, this is the thing. You can tell, by the way, if people have been watching this. I don't know exactly how we're going to release these, what order they come in. But you can tell when Wes likes or doesn't like someone by how much he talks on one of these podcasts. I think I've learned that.
I'm honored, man. Is he talking a lot? I love it.
I'm talking a lot.
Yeah. You're getting Bill Samuels treatment right now.
Nice.
And it's like, look, I know you guys are old friends, so it's weird for me to be like the third wheel. But here's the thing. I go through your catalog, right? And I'm not just saying this because you're on the podcast. I love your shit. It's great.
Thank you.
But let me ask you this. She hates me too. Alcohol you later. Bitches. How many women screwed you over?
Oh
man, to be honest,
that one coming, did you? I didn't see that one coming.
No, I love it. To be honest, man, any time that I got hurt was very early in my life, and honestly, it's kids are going to do that to each other. I just like writing about things that make you feel something, and in songs, these stories aren't always about my life. I think we kind of lost some storytelling aspects in the last decade in country music. Of every artist, it has to be their song. And I'm like, Johnny Cash didn't really kill a man in Reno to watch him die. It's just a cool fucking lyric, man. So like, every song I write doesn't have to be my story. So I like writing songs that when you hear it, it feels like you're watching a movie, and it feels cinematic. And it's like, oh my God, that crushed me. I can feel that even if it happened to me or not. And so when it comes to a lot of these songs that I write, I'm trying to write for other people too. I want them to have their song, their story, that song they turn on when they're pissed off, if they get fucked over, you know what I'm saying? And to me, it's I didn't have it that bad, God bless the broken road for sure that I ended up with Megan, but there is a it's just growing up. It's called being kids, man. You're gonna get fucked over one way or another, both people, and that's called dating, and that's how you figure it out. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna trash any ex-girlfriends. I'm they were all good enough to get me here. I'll say that.
There you go. And you mentioned we have to, since you mentioned Megan, let's go down that road a little bit. Then Tim, you hold your, you've got a million other questions. I'll be quiet here. So what I truly think, and is one of the most badass women I've ever met is Megan. In a lot of ways.
Amen.
But badass and sweet and kind and everything in just one package. And I have to say, I mean, you were lucky to find her.
I'm fully aware.
yeah. I outkicked my coverage as well. So, but you guys have an engagement, and assume obviously that the next thing is a wedding, which I hope you'll let me get some Angel's Envy in the wedding for you guys to maybe toast with or something like that.
Himself. He just invited himself.
No, I didn't invite myself.
No, I mean, obviously, you're more than welcome. Would love to have you. I know you're a busy man, but and obviously we would love to toast with some Angel's Envy. That's we would be honored. I mean, absolutely. But yeah, we just got engaged, and we're the biggest procrastinators in the world. We're still planning that whole thing and seeing what that's going to look like with the craziness of us on the road this year. And actually, I just got off doing a video. She just released a song called My Right Hand and the music video, and it shows the whole video is about us getting engaged, and the hook of her song is the best thing about my left hand is the ring on it from the right man. So she wrote that song for me and about our proposal, and it's kind of made me tear up a little bit. So check that song out too sometime.
I know didn't Bobby Bones premiere it the other day,
which is a huge honor. That's her first real radio thing in America since she came from Canada, and thanks Bobby for that. And she's on fire right now. I'm so proud of her, man. And obviously, you know her as a person. So we're just trying to get everyone else to know her as a person, because her music shows itself and her, the way she performs. But I want people to get to know Megan like me and you know her. She's amazing.
Wow.
Now, are you returning the favor? Is there a song at the wedding that you've written already?
I've got a few songs for her. She's, I put them out, some on the last record, and I just finished a brand new 20-song record that we're putting out this year, and there are a few songs for her on that for sure.
So how do you think that and that's going to be a challenge, and that with your careers and the schedule, crazy ass schedules you all have, it's a lot of work, and it's going to be a lot of work, which I'm not telling you something you guys don't know, but you've been managing a relationship like that so far, and it's worked. But I'm sure you're going to figure out how to carve out space and time and ways to to spend time together. But right. I'm sure you've already thought about that. That'll be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, she just got back from Canada yesterday. I hadn't seen her in a month, and now it's CMA week, and I'm gone. And she's here, and I leave for the Luke Bryan. We start the Luke Bryan tour tomorrow, so we leave tonight at midnight, and we're actually on the Luke Bryan tour, not the farm tour, the actual tour. So we are our first ones tomorrow. So we're in and out, man. And I never wanted to date another musician because, all my exes, it didn't work out because they were dating a musician. And then I was always gone. And that's the truth. That's just not when they were little girls and they were dreaming of, spending the rest of their life with someone. At the beginning, they're like, oh, this is awesome. And then when I'm never home, I understand it's not what they thought of. So for me too, I never wanted that. But when Megan, it came out of nowhere when I wasn't looking. I mean, like I said, at Loser's Bar, she walked in wearing camo, and I was like, who are you? I wanted to focus on my career, and now you're messing me all up. What's going on? And, you go into it blind, and we've just found a way to make it work. We both need our time. We both need our time away, and that makes the time we get so much more special. And I think we've learned that through each other's past relationships, and what we really wanted in life. And what we want is a true partner that wants the best for us. And I want her to succeed. I mean, she fell in love with music before she fell in love with me, and vice versa. And we met at a perfect time where we're both trying to do this thing. And so we root for each other. And that's been a very special thing I've never had before that seems to be working.
Lift each other up, and that's really what it's a partnership. It's a true partnership. I mean,
absolutely.
There's without a doubt there's the love, but you've got to have that connection as friends and partners, and that's what's lasting. The infatuation, the early phase stuff is fleeting. You know, it's
absolutely.
And people that have been married, I've been married now for 33 years or something along those lines. And
I studied.
Cheers to that.
I had a year and a half of family law clinic in law school. It's kept me away from marriage.
I'm sure there's. I mean, I get it, man. It's the times have changed, but you know, when you hear stories like that, cheers again at 33 years, it kind of inspires you. I want to make this work the rest of my life.
Good. That's awesome. So you mentioned Luke. You're going out on the tour. I've been trying to get out to see some shows. Are you doing stadium stuff with Luke? And I know you just did a big stadium show. I want to come back to that. But where are you headed tomorrow?
Yeah, so that was the Luke Combs Stadium. Now we're out with Luke Bryan, the tour till I think till the end of October, and then we got some more Luke Combs dates after that. But yeah, I think these are arenas and big sheds. It's summertime, so a lot of these are outdoor venues. The big things that Luke Bryan does, and we're so honored to be asked to be on this tour. Obviously, Luke and how amazing he is, and so the friendship that we've been able to make, and for them to keep asking us to be a part of what they do is it truly is humbling. It makes us want to work harder, and we're going to go out there and give everything we got. So yeah, that starts tomorrow. Me, Riley Green, and Luke Bryan. So we're really excited about that.
That's a big deal. I mean, that's a big deal. And how do you feel the different energies in? I think every venue, well, every venue is different, but every setting is different. Farm tour has a vibe. Stadium has a vibe. An arena has a vibe. Do you feel the same way? Do you sense that as far as how you relate to the crowds and just the general feel?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, as cliche as it gets, you feed off the crowd, and sometimes the bigger the venue, the further they are away from you. As far as energy, I mean, you can definitely feel it and see it, but like sometimes those clubs are like 1,500 to 2,000, where they're right here. It's just it's sometimes I'm not hating on arenas or stadiums. Trust me, it's amazing, but the energy of that being so close, where you can just like feel the body heat on people. It's a lot of fun. Stadiums are massive. You get this wall. It feels like you're going into war, like back in the medieval times when the songs would be sung back at you. It just reverberates everywhere. And then arenas, man, it's just so cool because the lights are so controlled. It's a controlled environment, so it's like a show. It's like playing in a theater. There's just everyone has their different thing. And it's our job to put on the same show every time. I'm not going to say it's as easy because, like you said, you got to feed off the crowd. But anytime they're singing back a song, man, if that doesn't get you fired up, you're doing the wrong job.
How does that feel? How does that feel? When in your career, you're there and you're like, oh shit, these people are. I'm not just singing to them; they're singing back to me or singing with me. Was there an aha moment that wow, this is really it?
Yeah, my first single that ended up going number one and changing our lives and career. It's called "Drunk Me," and we had been touring in a van for years and just got the record deal, and the song was working at radio, but we had just been touring everywhere and just playing. No one knew our music. We built a couple fans at a time, and we were in Chicago, Lake Shake at the next to Nashville stage, a side stage, and we had to drive up like 10 hours from wherever we were, and we were so tired, and we were setting up, and nobody was in this tent. It was like a tent that held like 3,000 people, and no one was there, and we were like, dang, man, like we're just so defeated right now. We're tired. We go backstage. We have actually a sip of bourbon like we always do. We cheers before we go on. We walk out there, and the whole place is full. And I looked over at my band on stage, and just the smiles, and everyone's there, and we play a few songs in our set, and you can see a couple people that have heard our music singing, and then we played Drunk Me, and that was the first time I've ever heard a crowd scream back every lyric, and I cried. I mean, I teared up. I looked at our guys there, just this whole rejuvenation happened on stage of, this is why we've been doing this, y'all, for years. This is why we've been doing this. This is what we've dreamed about, what we've wanted, what we've expected, and now it's happening, and it was just, I get emotional talking about it because it's just like, so crazy when that happens. That means that it's working. You're connecting to people in a genuine way, and I'll never forget that moment, man. It was it gave us all the energy we needed to continue on to this day. And now every time we put out a song or when it's working at radio, it's so cool to hear them. But that one moment kind of started it all for sure.
Was that the moment that kind of defined your career? Or was there a moment before that? Was that
No,
was that the-
definitely it. Drunk me in that moment for sure, 100%. And then when the song ended up, thank God, going all the way to the top and ringing the bell, getting a #1 song at country radio, definitely helped. With the presence in Nashville and getting more opportunities and getting on tours and getting to meet people like Luke Bryan, and that song and the way the fans took a hold of it in radio was everything about my career for sure.
Have you ever since then? I would think this would be cool to do as a writer and an artist. Have you ever gone into like a karaoke night or like seen somebody do a cover of your stuff?
Man, it is pretty special. A few times when you're on Broadway and hear people playing your song like live band, hearing your song on the radio is one thing, and it's the most amazing feeling in the world. Don't get me wrong, it never gets old. But when you're just walking on Broadway and you see a band of people working like you've worked, just playing 3-hour set cover songs for free booze and food and maybe some tips, and one of the songs they chose in that 3 hours is yours, it's pretty special, man. It's pretty cool. I don't like to do the thing where I like walk on stage and take the mic. I'm that's unhumble to me. I don't really like that. No offense to anyone that does. I think that's your thing, but that's their moment, man. They're out there working their asses off trying to make a name for themselves. And if they chose my song, I'm gonna sit back and watch and just take that in.
Have you done the cover, the cover song thing in bars and everything like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I was at the Luke's Crash on My Play a couple 3 years ago, and Blake Shelton was playing. Luke came up on stage with Blake, and they played together for like a couple hours, but they were playing all cover songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how in the world can you guys get up on stage and just bang those out like you've been playing them together all for years? And it dawned on me, and I'll ask you this question, and because I've always wanted to ask a question. That's because that's the shit they played.
It's because they have
in the bars before they were famous, right?
Because they have. That's what you have to do. How many times we played 3-hour set, get a 30-minute break, and play another 3-hour set. We'd play just cover songs, just trying to get any kind of energy from a crowd. Because if you're playing a song and then you would throw in one of yours every now and then to kind of show who you are, but you're just trying to get people to come back and see you again. And so people come back when they have a good time. They can't have a good time when they sing songs they know. So that's the hardest part when you're starting out. You're playing everywhere and you're playing bars. And you're just trying to get a reaction. And so cover songs do that. And I mean, every song in the book, you got to learn. So those guys did it. We've done it. That's just kind of the rite of passage you got to do.
You could probably still do it if you needed to today, man.
I do. Speaking of Crash by Playa, I went out there with Luke Bryan one time, and a lot of people don't know he wrote Billy Currington, one of Billy Currington's biggest hits, Good Directions. Luke Bryan actually wrote that. And so I got to play that with Luke on stage because Luke doesn't play that in his sets. He was just a songwriter on it. So it was really fun to get to sing with Luke Bryan, a song he wrote that kind of at the very beginning of his career that kind of got him started, that Billy Currington turned into a hit.
So it's interesting that transition of people still stick to songwriting, which you will because you're a songwriter at heart.
Yeah.
But going from an artist that writes their own stuff to having songwriters that want to write for you. Go back to the Ashley Gorley model, for example, who's bringing, you see
Right.
one artist that has done maybe 5 of his songs or more of his songs. And, as you get more, as your career takes off, do people bring you more songs? Or, I mean, I know you're a writer at heart, but do you have access as an artist to more songwriting and more things like that as your career advances? I don't know if I'm asking that question correctly or not, but
no, it is. And there's I can go on for days about this and the way the industry's changed. Definitely, I get offered songs all the time now, and I'm very grateful for that. But I don't release any music personally that I don't write on. I'm a songwriter, and I want to write my own music for 2 reasons. One, I feel like I can write songs. And I feel like I can get across the message better if I have a piece and if I'm a part of that song. But second, the way the industry's changed, man, if you're not a writer on a song, unless you get a single, you're not making any money.
Right.
I mean, because of Spotify and the way this stuff's happened, you could have, you could write on a song that didn't go to radio but got, 80 million streams, and you're making a few $1,000s. They're taking everybody's money and they're not paying the songwriters. So So for a new artist to put out a song, and if I cut an outside song and didn't write on it and it was a #1 on radio, I get $0 for it going to #1 on radio as an artist. If I'm a writer, that pays somewhere between, as a co-write of a 3-way writer, #1 song pays somewhere now between $200,000 to $300,000 for each writer.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 90s, you're looking at $1 million plus. I mean, it was a life-changing thing. But today, if you cut an outside song as an artist and you didn't write on that, you're not making any money from the radio. You're hoping your guarantees go up in shows and ticket sales.
Well, that's it. You just tour it to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd heard about it. I don't want you to divulge anything about the industry, but I'd heard like 1/10 of 1 cent or something like that for a stream. And I don't know if I'm in the ballpark, but that's not a lot.
Yeah. Well, then cut that up between your label and your management and your business management. That 1 cent is just what they send to you. And they think so how it. I mean, yeah. So you really want to be a songwriter, a part of the song, and so it's kind of going that way. So like when Ashley, on this new record, I've got a song I wrote with Ashley Gorley too. So when people send me outside songs, I'm very grateful. And as a songwriter, I've had some cuts that other artists have cut that they weren't writing on, and I love that. I mean, obviously, but. It's just the times are changing. The artist kind of needs to be in the room these days. Otherwise, there's just not a big piece of the pie happening for everybody, or not enough happening for everybody. So it's tough. And I get great songs, and like I said, I'm honored with it. But I'm just like, hey, y'all, I write my own stuff. Let's get in the room and write one together. Or if you want me to write my own verse on this, and then we call it a co-write, fine. But I need to be a part of these songs. Because I want to put my thing into it as well if I'm putting it out as an artist personally.
Well, let me ask a stupid question to follow up to that then. If you're a big artist, I mean, you're a big artist, obviously, but if you're a big artist and somebody throws a song at you, could there be things or scenarios to help get an artist into a song where they're like, all right, we're going to leave the word cat at the end of one line, and then we're going to have a blank here, and you just write that word in there?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, if you're writing for Luke Bryan, you say Flint River. No, it's there's definitely things that I mean, we have it. So our publishers give us a tip sheet, and it lets you know who's cutting, who's going in the studio next, who's looking for songs, what type of songs we're looking for. But it's kind of a shot in the dark, man. I mean, trying to write a song for someone that's not in the room, it's super rare. It's super rare because those guys are going to want to cut their buddy songs and take care of their buddies. Luke Bryan's going to want to cut a Dallas Davidson song over, some random person because they're friends. Why not? You go up in the industry together. You want to help everyone else. And so everyone's kind of got to make their own connection. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Every now and then it does. I mean, you look at Blake Shelton just cut God's Country, a massive song, and he didn't write on that. A bunch of my friends wrote on that, and that was an outside cut. But it's rare these days to do that. But when you're that big and you're already making that much money, they don't really care about, as much as the radio songs as they care about, hey, they just want a hit and they need another hit every single time.
What's
Luke
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. I'm saying Luke Bryan still writes a lot of his music too.
Right.
But
since he's the serious one, I like to ask kind of wacky things here.
Yeah.
Look, you're a writer, you're an artist. Very clearly, you can probably span any genre of music you wanted to. Has anybody approached you for something ridiculous where they're like, "Hey, we're about to work on a polka album with some yodeling. Can you get in on this?" And
I think I can sell that.
Oh yeah, do you remember that show Turtleman back in the day?
Yeah,
he was a real super redneck.
Was he Kentucky guy? He probably was.
Kentucky dude. Yeah, just would go down and grab these snapping turtles barehanded. I had a guy reach out once to try to write that theme song in Turtleman and met him, and
that's awesome.
It was awesome experience, but this was like, they've never written a song in their life. They're trying to explain to you what they want and what it sounds like, and it's just saying terms that aren't terms, and it was just really, it was a lot of fun. But the song didn't end up working out, but it was a lot of fun and completely out of the box to just try to write something that I had no idea going into what they wanted at all.
How do you capture the essence of Turtleman?
Yeah, it's like it needs to be a banjo. I don't have my banjos back there, but it needs to be like a rolling banjo type thing with a swampy sound. So it was like, get out a slide guitar, and we were all over the place. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
There's actually a Portlandia sketch about the band that does all of the dark TV themes. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Those are amazing, actually.
It's amazing. Like, and it always seems like there's like the one band that does all of the same songs for every one of the theme songs. I don't know. Anyway, no, it's I can only imagine what that was like sitting down to do the Turtleman. They're like very artsy about it too, right? Like I'm sure they were very, very uppity.
I mean, they
I
knew
don't know
it,
about that.
We've got a storyboard here of it.
Bunch
they
of good old
they knew
boys.
what they wanted. Yeah, they knew what they wanted. I'll give it that. You know, when you have a successful TV show, those people aren't stupid. They say, "Oh, those dumb rednecks," and they're like, "No, these are smart people. They know what they're doing." You know, just like Larry the Cable Guy, man. It's there's actors. People are acting. Not saying that's not who they are really in real life, but they're not idiots. You don't get places for being idiots in this industry. I'll tell you that.
Got a question. We're talking about, and I know we're kind of beating the songwriting thing to death, but it's just fascinating to me. And what do you think about an example? There's a song called "Amazed." You know the song "Amazed," right? That Lone Star did. Number
Baby,
one.
I'm amazed by you.
There you go. Yep. That's it. The number one
song. Are we
song.
gonna get charged for that? Do we have the rights to?
I didn't sing it long enough.
BMI with paying somebody. You know, so funny story, and I learned this from a friend that I guess the premise of the question is a song a great song, no matter what artist performs it. Now, certainly somebody can take a song and fuck it up, and somebody can. Yeah. So "Amazed" was originally, and I know this from the horse's mouth, was originally offered to Boys to Men, believe it or not.
Wow.
And they passed on it. And then Lone Star took it and made it a number one song, and they passed on it because they're thinking, "Oh, this isn't us." So it kind of shows you for whatever genre, that. And by the way, they recorded that song later and just freaking killed it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Boys to Men are gonna kill anything. So
and they did, but I guess the where I'm leaning towards is that. That's the number one song. Is a number one song a number one song? Not to say an artist can't screw it up, but that song was destined. If it was done in a way, that gave honor to the song, to be a hit song. Does that make any sense? Is that a good?
100%. I feel that the song is always good enough. I think where you can go wrong more than the artist, as you said, there's definitely an artist that could destroy it by accident. I mean, just a terrible artist, sure. But I think the production, more than anything, if the production isn't right on the song, could destroy it. If someone took something like "Amazed" and didn't have that beautiful piano behind it and those type of harmonies and left enough room vocally for Lone Star to do what they do, was I don't even remember. Well, shoot, that was a long time ago. Anyway, I don't know who produced it, but whoever did they did it right. They did it perfect. And what if they had made it, 8 beats faster and had the drums and in a different spot? I don't know. It and didn't feel as good as that. The lyrics might get hidden. I mean, an example like Tim McGraw's I'm drawing a blank right now. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, some things when they're slowed down, you hear it better lyrically. And I think some like that song. It was just kind of the production of it was perfect. I think people can get in this town and try to make it sound everything's so big and just make it sound whatever, and that ruins more songs that I've seen than the artist or just the songwriting itself.
Lady Gaga has and I heard it performed on Howard Stern, "The Edge of Glory," and it was it was more of a dance song when it was released, and she did just Lady Gaga and her piano singing "The Edge of Glory" as a ballad. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And I'm like, why the hell didn't you release it like that before? And but it's taking the same song and slowing it down to where, and she explained and hopefully we'll circle back to this as well, as far as the meanings of songs and interpretations of songs. But, and she slowed it down enough where you could, and she told the story behind it, which I love, and that'll bring us to Tim's question too, because maybe we can talk about bitches at some point in time.
Are we gonna? You want me to cover that?
I'm not gonna let.
Can I do this?
Of course.
Number one, that's my favorite song you do, because it's just awesome. It's
great live though. It's great live, isn't it? I mean, you got it, Mitchell. Man. It's great. It's fun live, isn't it?
It's fun. It's one of my favorite songs to play, and everyone in the crowd gets into it. No one. Like it's just fun. It's not to be taken seriously, man. In this world, everyone takes everything so out of context. And just shut up and have fun, everybody. It's okay.
Let me see if I can do this for the people who are watching it. I'm gonna see if I can't share the screen.
Oh gosh, here we go.
I gotta get into
But that's the point. You're right. It's
Yeah.
that having fun, and there's so many ways in society for there we go. Oh my
There it is.
gosh, for
it.
us not to have fun. And then you get some ass clown like this, and I don't mean that. That's my opinion, by the way. I don't mean that.
Here's the thing, and for people who are just listening to this, I'd recommend you go take a look at the video. What's really funny about this to me is again they put like trigger warning. Sorry, Mitchell Tenpenny and bitches goes too far. But the picture they have of you makes you look like such a boss.
Sit back there with some angels envy chilling.
Yeah, it's like it's just you're so chill on that like I mean, do you get a lot of backlash from people? Do you get a lot of pro clutchers who are like, okay, well there you go.
I mean, I truly, and knock on wood, and if they did, I don't care because get to know me. It's not like that, but that's like one of the only articles, and you know what? That's their opinion. By all means, have it. I believe in an America where you're allowed to have an opinion, and I truly I value that you're allowed to have that. That is yours. And
what's funny about that article was that it was a slight to women, which it wasn't. It wasn't. And I mean, I think
everybody's
when I think of
bitch.
Anybody, right? Anybody can be a bitch.
And I say that on my show. I say this song isn't about girls being bitches or guys being bitches. This song is about bitches being bitches. Okay. But this happens to be my, not strictly my story, but it's coming from the point of view of, a guy getting fucked over. But girls come in all the time. They say, listen, here's why I don't give a fuck about what anyone says about this song. Because I've had multiple people say I was going to commit suicide until I heard this song. So fuck you. If you hear that, if you don't break down, I have cried knowing that, oh my God, this song might have saved someone's life. If that doesn't humble you more than anything in the world, because they put that on, they felt empowered, they felt cheers, they felt better for a second in life that it's going to be okay, then fuck you if you hate it. I don't give a shit. Because that changes everything in your world, man. And that's the most humbling thing. And if people want to take it out of context, whatever, by all means, but that's not what it's about. It's about having fun and releasing what you want to say sometimes. Like, God, why are you being such a bitch? And that can go across the gender board. I don't care. Yeah. It is. Everybody can be a bitch.
We had to pick out one fun article, to toss at you just to.
Honestly, that's one of the only things I've ever seen with that song, and I'm very grateful that most people have taken it for what it is, and that's to have some fun.
It's just, I mean, I don't understand how you listen to a song like that and don't feel like it's fun. I mean, it's just a cool, obviously a sing along, man. I mean, getting a whole stadium to sing along with that to you has to be a hell of a run.
Man, I'll tell you, this weekend in Seattle and the stadium, the Seahawks, hearing a stadium sing back bitches was a dream come true, man. It was so cool.
I love it. Let me ask you this. When you heard, did you write the phrase alcohol you later? Because when I heard that the first time, I'm like, holy, it's like right in front of you the whole time. It's been right there.
Man, I was having a drink at Loser's Bar and years ago. And that's where I get a lot of my song titles. I listen to people's conversations. I eavesdrop. And this really, really Southern gentleman was just telling his buddy goodbye. He goes, "All right, buddy, I'll call you later." And I thought he said, "Alcohol you later." And so I wrote it down in my phone. And I was like, "Oh, that's perfect." And then the next day I went to a room with two of my buddies and we wrote that. I was like, I got this title. I heard this guy wrong, but it sounded like he said it this way. I was like, it's perfect for what I'm dealing with right now. It's in the breakup, and you get drunk, dial somebody.
See, there were women. There were women, Mitchell.
Well, there are some songs that are historically correct to my life, but not all of them. Alcohol You Later at the time was definitely about my life.
And by the way, that video is awesome. And it looked like it was difficult to film because we can't show it, but I might be able to edit it in later. Yeah. But the swipe of the two different locations.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so there was the outside of that bar and inside that bar, and then dressing up as the woman lead as well. I give all the credit to people that wear either high heels.
Stunning and brave of you.
Do it. Yes. And to my wardrobe stylist who had to look down my skirt while I was on the bar the whole time. I apologize on that. That was a rough day for them.
Just wrong on a whole bunch of levels, man. Wow.
I'm gonna have
I caught by myself. It was a fun video.
Wes, I'm gonna have standard questions for your musician friends, by the way. And here's the standard question that I'm gonna ask everybody.
Okay.
What are your top 3 drinking songs?
Oh, wow.
Top 3 drinking songs. Wow, dang. I should have had to think of that. I mean, Long Neck Bottle, Garth Brooks is always a fun one. To me, it's 90s country when I think of drinking songs.
What about Dust on the Bottle?
Dust on the Bottle is great. Might be a little Dust on the Bottle. Yeah, I mean that would come in. It's more I just put on like 90s country. 90s country is what I love to drink to.
Right.
More than just picking a song like
That
Brooks
puts
and
you-
Dunn, like a hardworking man. If they're hardworking, when that comes on like that, I'm just like, I just want to throw them back, man. It's like, here we go.
Yeah.
So anything from the 90s, early 90s country music, I think is my drinking song, man, for sure.
So what do you think about those influences? I was at the Derby talking with Travis Tritt about his upcoming touring, and he's on some tours with Jason Aldean, and I think he's might be going out with Chris Young. Kind of the legacy artist with the new artist.
Yeah.
Which is great because I believe it brings in new fans to old artists and old fans to new artists. But I was trying to piece that together, like, why does that work that way?
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly why it works. And, why would Jason Aldean want to take on the road, legacy artist, still very relevant, still an amazing human.
Right.
And it's not just to bring fans to the table. I suspect that that's the stuff that he listened to. I don't know.
That's what I was about to say. That's what inspired him for sure. So he's at a position in his career and life where he can do that. And this only happens in our genre, though. I mean, you're not going to see 50 Cent go out with Post Malone. That's just that kind of stuff, or Eminem, go out with Jack Harlow. Like this is a country music thing, and to your point, it's a family, man. To start from the beginning of the podcast, country music is more of a family than any other genre, and that's the people that inspired Aldean. Of course, he's going to want him out there, and like you said, the cover songs and things that get people pumped up. Even Aldean, Luke Bryan, they still play cover songs in their sets. So what if you can get the actual artist instead of the cover? That's going to make the crowd even love the set even that much more. And to have Travis Tritt out there with Aldean and you said Chris Young. I've been out on the Chris Young tour for a while now, and his fans are country music fans. So if Travis Tritt's out there with Chris, that just makes the show that much better.
That's great.
Yeah. Is there who is your artist? Like, who's your guy that you would always want to tour with?
When country music, I mean, Brooks and Dunn, we got to open up for them this weekend too. And it was
so awesome.
It was an amazing honor, man. My whole band were out there just draws on the floor. The Eagles growing up, Skinnerd. And then John Mayer for me, just as an artist and a player, man. I love John Mayer too. He's great.
He's a player.
One of the best guitar players in the world, man.
Oh, he's a player too. I mean,
yeah. He is a player for sure. I've heard some stories, but I love his musical choices, man. The way he plays guitar, I really love how he plays.
Did you ever see his comedy show? He did a half-hour special.
He's funny, man. He's got his mind is always going, and he's quirky, man. I'm intrigued by that. I just want to pick his brain. I met him once really fast. I would love to just see what's going on up there. He's got a lot going on up there. It's wild.
There was a segment, by the way, Mayer did on this. It was years ago, when probably 15, almost 20 years ago that he did this, where he asked his fans what products he should sell out with. It wasn't him. It was like they had like a think tank, they're sitting around and asking fans like what products he should sell out with.
I like that. If the price is right, I mean,
amen.
When I sold Angel's Envy to Bacardi, I had some guy come up to me, goes, "Oh man, you're the guy who sold out to Bacardi." I was like, "No, I didn't sell out to Bacardi. I sold to Bacardi. There's a big difference."
What's go ahead.
Sell out. I mean, the word sell out. I mean, what did I sell out of? Tickets,
isn't it right? Nothing wrong with nobody's gonna blame you for that.
I don't give a shit, man. Like, who cares? Oh, your music's. I don't play that game.
Anybody have your face tattooed on them yet?
Man, that has been the craziest thing in the world. To be honest, that's so funny you said that. Someone just showed me another one the other day. When someone tattoos a lyric, or yes, I've seen a face, and a lot of them do. We have an owl as kind of our brand, Night Owls, and to get that night owl on there, or just a lyric or an autograph. Man, I had somebody, like, I was running through and they autographed their arm. And it wasn't even my autograph. It was like chicken scratch, and they got it tattooed. And they showed me at another show, and I was like, shit, if I'd have known, I'd have taken so much better time on that. I'm so sorry. I mean, that's awesome because I mean, I have bands on my arm. You know, it's crazy, but to think that someone do that for us, it's like I said, extremely humbling, rewarding, but also why I love it. It's really cool.
The gift that keeps on giving the rest of your life.
I mean, your lyrics, though, honestly, I could see thousands of people getting, and not to sound crazy, but like your lyrics are awesome. And they,
thanks, man.
I mean, there's so many lines and there's so many very catchy lines that I could see and meaningful lines. Like there's different levels of it. I could see tons of people getting your lyrics tattooed on your face, though. Man, I don't know, man. The other dudes' faces.
I'm an ugly dude. Yeah, I had one. It was me. The girl said it was like me and Kane Brown and I can't even remember the third person, but I was like, I mean, I'm honored. Thank you. It was really weird. But yeah, lyrics a lot. They do a lot and they want it written out. So somebody, you know, my tour manager will see them or they'll find him or they'll go up to our merch booth and my guy will bring it and be like, hey man, they would really love to have a bottom of my bucket list written in your handwriting on this piece of paper and they're going to get it tattooed or something, you know, and amazing. And I'll take my time and write it out and then they'll give it back to them. And I always say, please tag me in it. I want to see it. Like, go online. It's really cool, man. It really is. That's pretty special.
And it's special that you take the time to do that too, and that you have communication with your tour manager.
Yeah, if they let me know. Yeah, if they let me know they're doing something on their body, I want to make sure it's the best that I can do. My handwriting's terrible anyway. But
you got a great, you got a great team too. I mean, you said team earlier, and yeah, you know, and I'm obviously, you know that, and I've seen that as well. And you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And
amen, man.
And you have to believe that and trust them and rely on them. And I think especially in your industry where people are coming at you from a million different directions, and you know you're trying to get and at the end of the day, you're doing a job. I know it doesn't always feel like you're doing a job, but you know you're traveling from city to city, busting your ass, and you know you got to have good people behind you. So. Man, you know, so it shows.
Yes,
I like seeing them when I'm out, when I'm fortunate enough to visit with you. I like visiting with them as well.
Well, you become part of our family too, brother. I mean, it's mutual. Like you said, none of us need new friends, but I love when you get good ones, man. When they work out, and I feel that way about you and our crew. And you got to build a team, as you know, both of y'all know that they're your family, man. It's not cliche, they are. And so thank you for being that special to us, man. I mean, it goes both ways.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. Well, listen, we've kept you on here for plenty of time.
I love it. It's fun, man.
It is. And I'm going to try to get out while you're out with Luke, one of these things, and say hey to you both.
Absolutely.
And drink some bourbon. Is Megan going to be able to get out with you at all, do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure some of them, some shows she will. I mean, she's getting back. I'm so proud of her. She's back to work now, traveling. Canada's opened back up too. So like she's, you know, our schedules are crazy, but we're going to make the time to figure that out. So hopefully we can all line up, me, you and her, and see you at one of the Luke Bryan shows. It'll be a lot of fun.
I would love that. I know you're going to kill it. So it'll be a lot of fun. Tim, do you have anything else before we let Mitchell get back to his life?
Dude, this has been super fun. And honestly,
thank you, Tim.
You're a great interview because literally you told your at the beginning, that whole story about your grandma is so touching. And the fact that like, I mean, yeah, you had that connection, but dude, you're talented. Like like
Thank
again,
you,
before I even knew, you know, because Wes does a lot of the booking for the show because he's got the famous friends and I got all the political people we don't want to talk to. But you know, before he said that you were gonna come on, like your shit's in my playlist, like you know, like it's there.
Oh,
it's like
thank
you know, and so like that's the cool part of
that.
this. Yeah, thank you, and really again, catchy stuff that like. I bet songwriters are jealous of the stuff you come up with. Honestly, alcohol you later. Really,
man, man, that it's an honor if they are, and that's what you want. Because I'm sometimes in the room, I'm like, man, I wish we would come up with that lyric. So if there's people out there saying, I wish I'd have come up with that, then maybe I can keep doing this for a few more years. We'll see.
You got any bourbon left in your glass there, my friend?
I got the very end of it, and I was doing that because I wanted to do a cheers to y'all. Just say thank you. All the blessings.
Blessings to you, my friend. Cheers. Let's take a sip here. This is Let's Drink Bourbon, and Mitchell Tenpenny with us today. And thank you so much, my friend. Look forward to seeing you. This is Tim Young. Tim.
Yeah, you want me to do the thing? You want me to do the whole thing?
Do the thing.
Let's Drink Bourbon podcast. LetsDrinkBourbon.com at Let's Drink Bourbon on Instagram, at Bourbon on Getter. basically you can just Google it, and we don't need to know Mitchell Tenpenny. There's only one person named Mitchell Tenpenny in the entire world, but you already know him. Thanks for joining us today, sir. This has been so much fun.
Man, Wes, Tim, thank you guys so much.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers,
Take care.
See you.